Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? Another not playing live stream, but I just seen this fight. Wait for a few to jump in here, man. Talk about this fight I just watched. Izu Ugonoh get stopped in the fourth round. Now I just seen the fight um about 10 minutes ago, and I'm not sure if they're gonna try to change the result of the fight, but Ugonoh gets stopped in the fourth. I'm gonna talk about it. Let me just wait for you guys to join in. Jay Coleman, Jay Jerk was good, man. Body Snatcher Vince, what's going on, bro? He says, who do you got between Gorman and Dubois? Shit, man. After watching this fight, man, I think my picks might start being the shorter heavyweights, man. You know what I mean? Shit, what Andy Ruiz did a few weeks ago here against Anthony Joshua. What I just saw today with the Rozanski versus Ugonoh fight. I may start picking the shorter, come forward, high guard guys that can move their heads, man. You know, I did a video a few years ago, Vince, where dude was asking me, do I think, and this was like 2016 when I did this vid. The dude was asking me, will there ever be any more good, after Povetkin? Because I think Povetkin was like, the last Mohicans back in that 2016 of like the shorter guys. He was asking me, do I think that this new era of 6'7", 6'6" is just going to dominate? We'll never see any good 6'1", 6'2" guys. And I told him no, and people thought I was crazy. That video's still up. I forgot the exact name of it. It's like small heavyweights, some or the other. I forgot what I named it exactly, but I said no. I said it's just going to take some guys that can really master their style, guys that can get by these guys' long jabs, get mid range, and let their hands go. You know what I mean? And I knew it wasn't the end of the shorter heavyweights, the guys that are 6'1", 6'2". We just needed the right guy to come along, and obviously Andy Ruiz was that guy to kind of blow the lid off. But nah, man, you know what I mean? It's crazy because I remember like back in like 20, or I'm trying to think, like maybe 2000, 2002, especially in the 90s, where like super tall guys were just looked at as just big and goofy. You know what I mean? So they never really had a shot. But I think guys are more athletic today. The fighters that are tall, I think they're more athletic. I think they're uh, better than some of the current, or better than some of the crops that we had in the last 20 years. But with that said, though, all it takes is a skilled technician, somebody that's good at what they know how to do as far as getting out the way of your jab, catch and shoot, getting mid range, and letting punches go. Man, it's one thing to have a good, nice, rangy, long jab and right hand, but if somebody can step on the inside of that and let combinations go, and you're not well equipped to really have that type of fight, you're going to have the advantage. You know what I mean? All right, man. Let me go ahead and jump into it. All right, man. So look. So let me say what's up to everybody. Neutral Natural was good. Quig Lupa, he says, what's up from New Zealand? Was good, man. Eddie Salsa was good. Um, Jay Jerk said, Mr. Boxing, how do you feel about James the Beast Wilson, the so-called next Tyson? Well, I did see that clip of Mike showing him how to get around a guy's outside shoulder and control the distance, or as far as being up close. I did see that clip on Fight Hype. Mike was showing some excellent things, man, with the footwork and letting his punches go and controlling that shoulder. You guys go check that video clip out, man. Mike was literally eating a bowl of oatmeal or something, man. He put that oatmeal down. You could tell Mike, his eyes light up when he's teaching guys punches. I remember he was doing this with John Jones, the UFC fighter, a few years ago, where he was showing John Jones something, and Mike really gets into it, man. Would like to see him train with fighters more. I know he said that he doesn't want to do it because he wouldn't be as consistent as he would like to. He don't know how dedicated he would be, but just to watch him drop jewels is a pleasure. But as far as Wilson, I mean, I've seen him. He can go from lefty to righty. He kind of likes to box. You know what I mean? He likes to drop his hands and shoot from the hip and kind of box in that slick type of style, man. So just want to see more of him. I did see him fighting. What was that, K1 or kickboxing? Devastating kicker. You know what I mean? He can kick the hell out of somebody, but we'll see how it goes. As he steps up in competition with boxing. But trying to box from the outside with shorter arms like that, I don't know about that, man. With your hands down, you know what I mean? Maybe he was just doing it in that fight that I seen because the competition was low, and maybe he just felt comfortable and he was able to do that against that guy. All right, but if he can, keep them hands up, man, and work behind the jab and work his way in and use that footwork and close the distance and work that body and get in mid range and he can take a punch as well. Shit, he has a chance. He has best of chances as a Tyrone Spong or any other of these shorter type of heavyweights. All right, even a guy like Oscar Rivas, man. Let me see. Neutral Natural. He says that he doesn't believe James Wilson is that good. Chris Horwath was good. Tyrone Smith says the plumber dude. Laws, Doc, and a Pippin. What's good, bro? Main event boxing talk was good. Yeah, man. Izu lost. He lost. It's on YouTube, man. Jay Jerk says Mr. Boxing, the second hit was not called for he hit while he was on one knee. All right, so let me get to the fight, man. So the fight starts off, and look, I'm not a big believer in saying, oh, he didn't look right. I mean, we can say that, and that may be true, but it's never the opponent's fault that a guy didn't look right. I was going through this with fans like a month ago with the whole AJ and Ruiz thing. Hey, man, whether he looked good or not, he went in and got punched in the face. You know what I mean? But with that said, though, Issue just from the beginning, man, he just did not look just into it, man. There was a right hand. Was it a right hand? Maybe it was a left hook that it was like a glancing left hook that happened to like literally the 2 minute and 40-second mark of the first round. And it was just the way he reacted. And I couldn't even tell if he got hit flush with it or not, but it was just how he reacted to it. Like he was just like his footing got kind of off, his balance was all, it just looked off. And Rozanski did a good job of just bringing a fight to him, man. It wasn't really, he put the high guard up. He was using his jab. He stepped inside of Izu's reach, and Izu was on the back foot, man. This didn't look like the devastating, guy was doing prospect watches on, man. That fight with Brazil doesn't seem like it was that long ago, but that shit was 2.5 years ago. And since that slugfest they had, he only had one fight against Fred Cassie, and that was shit over a year ago. It was last year, but it was like 14 months ago or something like that, man. So, and that Fred Cassie fight only went what 2 rounds, and Fred Cassie didn't want no more after the second round, so he wasn't able to get really no work in. I'm not sure how much sparring he's done. I'm not sure. I know, he's obviously one of them guys that, he can physically stay in shape. Just because your body's in shape doesn't necessarily mean you're in fighting shape. You know what I mean? You might not have adequate sparring. Um, you're just not in the gym fighting like you should be. All right. But I did see training clips of him leading up to the fight. He did seem fast and powerful and all that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. Rozanski went in there and took all that away. He was just stepping to him, being aggressive, throwing left hooks and overhand rights. So the first round, I gave that to Rozanski. I thought he dominated the fight, to tell you the truth, man. So the second round, more of the same. He was stepping to him. Issue just wasn't. He just stayed on the back foot. He really wasn't letting the right hand go as much. And when he did, he either missed or Rozanski ate it and kept coming back with his shots. And you could tell early that his punches was much more authoritative than Izu's, and he had more on it. He just had more sting and more snap on his punches, man. And he was backing Izu up. And Izu's not a guy that wants to use the back foot, pump the jab. Yes, he has the ability to do it in spurts for a couple of rounds before he starts to gas out. That was another thing, man. He just, in the Brazil fight, I can understand why he gassed out because they had just a complete slugfest and it was leather landing. With this one, he just seemed like he was going to just gas out regardless. He was on the back foot, mouth open early in the fight, man. Like second, third round, mouth open, getting pushed back. That right hand just didn't seem to have pop on it. Give credit to Rozanski by, just stepping in on him and just taking a fight to him, man. Third round, so I gave the second round to Rozanski. Then the third round, Izu landed a good right uppercut, but Rozanski just ate it. You know what I mean? Then Izu tried to come with a left hook behind it, and he ate that too. He just kept bringing a fight to him, man. Then he landed a good right hand on Izu as Izu was backing up, looked sluggish, footwork shot. Just it looked like he was like in the 11th round of a slugfest in like the third round. You know what I mean? He went to the rope. It was like a delayed reaction. Then he went down and then like took a very long count. He got up like around 8 or 9, got up, gave that round to Rozanski. Then the fourth round, he was just tired, man. Just tired on the back foot, moving around, trying to hold and clinch. Whenever they were close, he just seemed like he didn't know how to react to anything. He seemed more to like scramble around when he should have been throwing punches or just clinching. He would like scramble and try to just look weird, man. It just looked like he just wasn't using any type of fundamentals how to deal with a small guy. I'm not sure if he just was so used to just blowing guys out early where he never learned how to really deal with small guys and tie them up and tie up that left hand on the inside so they can't hit you with left hooks and walk them and turn them. You know what I mean? Shit like Evander, even though Evander was a bigger, taller guy than Mike Tyson, but when they got on the inside, Evander was wrapping Mike Tyson's left arm up and walking him the other way, man. You know what I mean? And Izu was doing none of that. He was like scrambling, trying to find arms to hold. And while he was trying to find something to hold, Rozanski was letting him hold them hands. You dig what I'm saying? He was just letting left hook, left hook, right. He was just fighting out of it. He wouldn't give him a chance to clinch. So then he lands a good right hand on the side of Izu's head. He goes down. Yeah, that's the third round. So then the fourth round, yeah, that right hand he goes down, and then Izu's down. You can tell he's down on one knee. Then Rozanski just hits him again with a right hand. So I'm not sure if they're going to change this result, but rather they change the result and they'll say, okay, so then Izu goes down. He gets hit with the right hand before I get to them changing the result, or if they will. He goes down. And instead of trying to get up, he's like trying to talk to the ref about it. It seemed as if he was trying to talk to the ref about being hit while he was down. And I'm like, dude, get up though. Like, he's like literally on his stomach looking at the ref like, or no, he was on his back. I'm sorry, looking at the ref like, hey, and the ref's just counting 2, 3. And he's like, hey, behind 4, 5. And I'm sitting there like, dude, get the fuck up. Like, what are you doing? He didn't want to be there, man. Yes, he did get hit on his knee. Clear as day. It was clear. To me, it was very clear from what I seen. All right. But it's body language, y'all. And it's kind of what we went with, what we were talking about with the Ruiz and Joshua. Body language to me as a fan means a lot, man. You know what I mean? And when you're trying to have a conversation as you're being counted out, it's like, dude, yeah, but stand up and have the conversation. He was willingly just laying out, and then you could just tell he just gave up. You know what I mean? He just got the fight beat out of him. I'm not sure how much fight he had in him coming into the ring, but hey, that's not Rozanski's fault. I want to see Rozanski, man, try to get another good fight in Poland. Try to get like a Marius walk. I know Arthur Spilka's getting ready to fight Derek Chisora. Maybe try to get his name in the hat on the Matchroom card or something. Or probably try to come over here, man. You know what I mean? Because this is a very decent win. It's crazy, man. It's a difference, a couple years make. Izu was one of the guys where I was doing my prospect videos. He was like one of the top 5, in my opinion, in that like 2016, 2015 guys. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Shocker, man. But Rozanski moves on. I think he's 10-0 now with 10 or with 9 KOs. I'm sorry. I know he beat like an old Michael Sprott, and then he beat Albert Sosnowski. He a couple little journeymen that I recognize, you know what I mean? But I didn't think this. I thought Izu would be able to beat him, control him with the jab from the outside, and let him walk himself in the right hands and uppercuts. And I was wrong. You dig what I'm saying? So shouts out to Rozanski. Like to see what he does next. Izu, man, this was somebody where I wanted to see him and Dominic Brazil have a rematch. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. He looked pretty gassed. I'm gonna get you guys comments in a second. I'm trying to think of everything I want to say. Oh yeah, and I got a chance to check out Junior Fa fight. Take a drink real quick. Yeah, Fa struggled with Dominic Gwynn. Then I'm reading comments from fans like, well, if you can't, he's Fa's garbage. If he can't knock out Dominic Gwynn, and I'm sitting here like, you do know Dominic Gwynn's never been knocked out. Well, he's 44. Okay, whether he's 44, 84, he's never been knocked out. Some people don't understand, man, just because a guy is highly touted or he's being hyped or pushed, that doesn't matter. Some guys, you just can't knock them out, man. You know what I mean? There are some guys in your career, you got to just put on that hard hat and bring that lunch pail, man, and just be satisfied with a 12-round decision or 10-round decision or 8-round decision and get your money and worry about looking great next time. You dig what I'm saying? Dominic Gwynn is definitely one of them dudes. He caught Fa with a good shot. It was a delayed reaction from the angle that I saw because it was like a ringside footage, like somebody doing it with their damn phone or something. So I'm not. I to this day I still can't tell if he got hit with a left hook but it was like a delayed reaction from the camera angle that I was able to view. You know what I mean? And Five went down hard. He was hurt. He was hurt, and he held on, man. That motherfucker held on, and he started to box Gwen from the outside and use his jab, and like I said, man, just try to out land and out point Gwen, and Gwen kind of went high guard. I'm gonna just take your shots mode, and then I'm try to land one big one. He started doing that, man. The last half of the fight, you know what I mean? But he did try to go for the kill, but Fa held on, did what he had to do. Gwen took that fight serious, man. That was his lowest weight in 8 years, man. So Dominic Gwen, the old veteran came to win that fight, man. I will give him that. You know, 44 years old. That shows some dedication. And Gwen is always in training camps. I know he was helping him and Brian Jennings was helping out Povetkin when Povetkin was getting ready for Stavern. That fight never took place. Povetkin ended up fighting who the fuck did Povetkin fight instead of Stavern around that time? Um who the fuck did he knock out? Johan Duipa. It was during that time. So Gwen is always in training camps, man. You know what I mean? So I'm not sure if he went like sparring partner mode in the five fight, but yeah. All right, let me get to what y'all talking about, man. But yeah, it can't believe Izu Ugonoh got knocked out, man. Now I'm curious to see if they're going to change the result because he clearly was down, and Rozanski didn't have to hit him. He was on verge of stopping Izu anyways. That's why when he went down, he hit him with that last one. I'm like, ooh. But then Izu tried to sell it a little bit more, man. Yes, it probably did hurt because it looked like everything was hurting him. So for him to be on his knee, not expecting to get hit, and then to get hit, I'm sure it hurt him, but not to the way he was sitting there because then he started having he knew that he got hit, so it wasn't like he was like unconscious, unaware. No, he knew that he got hit. That's why he was having a conversation with the ref. And then he just kind of just, found him a nice little spot on the canvas and called it a night, you know. Rozanski looked like he beat the fight out of him, man. Eddie Salsa says these shorter heavyweights making a breakthrough. Yeah, man, they certainly are. Chris Howard says the shorter, heavier guys have an advantage over these big heavyweights. In some ways, they do. It's just how can they use them? See, because a lot of fans were so just looking at, oh, he's 6'7". Guys are 6'6", 6'8". You can't get past the reach, and I'm like, yeah, you can. It's called moving your head. Like, yeah, you can. Like how Frazier was able to get past one of the best jabs in the history of sport, Ali, move his head. Yeah, that's what you got to do. You got to move your head. Yeah, they teach it in the gym. Move your head, cut the distance, and go to the body. It's such a lost art, man. It's like people, they're just so hell bent on looking at guys as just headhunters, man. And I guess it's easy to headhunt when you have a long reach and you're trying to just knock guys out. That style isn't for everybody, man. I believe in fighting tall, but you gotta be able to mix it up as well. I mean, you can't just headhunt and sit on the outside with a long jab. I'm not saying if you're 6'6", 6'7", to give up your height and reach and turn into an inside fighter, but if it goes there, you gotta know how to handle yourself when it gets there. A lot of these tall guys, they don't know how to do it. They wrap up. Klitschko, even though one of the best trainers I think ever to do it, Emmanuel Stewart, did teach him a proper game plan as far as knowing how to hold on the inside. If you're not an inside fighter, hold. You know what I mean? Wrap up a guy, especially if a guy is a good those good left hooks on the inside. Wrap up that left arm, man, with your arms outside of his left arm. Wrap that up, and you know what I mean. Play that wrist game up in there, man, and try to just lock the guy up until the ref breaks you. All right, but a lot of these tall guys, man, they can't even do that correctly. They start scrambling. It's like, I don't know, they just start scrambling on the inside. Scrambling meaning they don't know where to hold, where to clinch. And as they're trying to look for an arm or something to clinch onto and hold, they're getting punched in the face. And then when they do hold and clinch, they're standing straight up and they don't do it the right way. That they're not circling the guy backwards. They're standing with their legs straight up. They don't have, you know what I mean? They're just not doing it the right way. And when you do hold a guy, make him pay in the clinch. What do you mean, Mr. Boxing? Lean your weight on him. A la Lennox Lewis, A la Vladimir Klitschko. Yes, it's ugly. Yes, nobody the next morning is going to say, "Oh, did you see the great way he was clinching them?" Maybe somebody that's breaking it down technically and can see those things, but to the standard fan and the, you know what I mean, they're not going to appreciate that. But like I said, man, worry about winning today and looking good to, your next fight, or looking great and spectacular your next fight, but just win today. Yeah, Rob S. He got KO, man. Neutral Natural says why the other dude had that big fake candy tattoo sticker on his chest. I think that's just one of them things where like a sponsor, you know what I mean? I remember B Hop. Damn, what fight did B Hop do that for? Was it Trinidad? B Hop used to do that back in the day, where he'll put like some company that's trying to advertise, whatever product they have. Guys go in there with that paint tattoo on them. They throw them guys that bag sometime, man. They might offer a guy, depending on how much you make, 10, 15 grand added to your purse, go a long way for some guys. And obviously the guys that make, this higher on the pay scale, they may get a couple 100,000 or whatever it is to do stuff like that, man. So that's what that was. I'm assuming that that's what that was. Detroit versus everybody was good, bro. He says, damn, I thought Izu was going to be a player in the division. Yeah, man, even after his loss to Brazil, I still thought, look, man, just work on his stamina. I thought I thought there was some things he just could have tweaked in that fight, and I thought there was a solid base to build upon, man. But I don't know, man. And this fight right here is got me thinking about the Dubois versus Gorman, and it got me thinking about the F.A. Jagba versus Ali Demirezen. Please do not think this is just some guy that's getting there to be on um, a Jagba's highlight reel. Now that possibly could happen, but just breaking down their styles, that Demirezen is a Olympian himself. He was an Olympics himself. He moves his head. I know that sounds just like very minute, but man, it goes a long way, man. He moves his head, he keeps his guard up, he's defensively responsible, and he lets his hands go when he's up close. He at least brings that to the table. Now, when he starts to get hit and clipped, we'll see how he responds. But if he can take that and still, come forward and put pressure on the Jag, but put him on the back foot, anything can happen, man. Oh, let me hit up the super chat. Chris Harworth, man, I appreciate that. He says, big up Mr. Boxing from the UK. Is 2 fights a year too inactive, especially for Joshua and similar fighters, Joe Joyce, hype job, or the future, maybe Dubois, Gorman for the UK. To me, man, I think guys should fight as much as possible, but in this era, I mean, I think guys should fight 3, 4 times. But I do understand the way things, like I was gonna say, the way things are ran in this era, man, with trying to build up, super fights and guys getting big purses, and the athletes to today, the boxing today, obviously just a different era, man. But no, I think 2 fights a year, that the sound, like in hindsight, it sounds ridiculous if you look at the history of the sport, where it's like 2 fights a year, 3 fights, that's nothing. When guys were fighting twice a month, you know what I mean? Every week. Now, Mr. Boxing, that was back then, and yeah, I know that, man. But that's what I'm saying. Looking at in hindsight, it's like 2 fights a year is a fucking joke. Guys should be fighting way more times than that, man. But just with the pace, especially guys at the 1% of the sport, um, they want to have these long promotional tours, and I think guys should be fighting way more than that, man. But for guys who are knocking guys out in a round or two, and you're not the, like a pay-per-view star or something like that, you should be trying to fight all the time. You know what I mean? Especially early in your career. And I don't care if you're trying to be fast track, because if you only got 3 or 4 fights, 5, 6, 7, 8 fights, you still only got a limited amount of fights. Keep fighting. You know what I mean? But I hate when guys, fight once or twice a year. That shit just reminds me of like, and nothing against these fighters, you know what I mean? But it puts me in that mindset, of like when guys become huge pay-per-view stars like Mayweather and De La Hoya, and even Mike Tyson and those he would start doing that where he only fought like twice a year, maybe three. You know what I mean? But that usually happens, man, when guys become, they get in that, like I said, that 1% of the sport. Detroit versus everybody says all that muscle not good for boxing. He's just like AJ, no stamina. Well, definitely stamina looks shot, man. Look completely shot. Chris Howard says, why did he have so much time off? He was a good prospect before Brazil. Um, yeah, I know he did like Dancing with the Stars out there in Poland. I don't know if he was injured or not. I can't remember, man. It's like when guys go, even sometimes I forget, and I cover the division, but shit, sometimes I forget, man. Especially when 2.5, 3 years go by. That's what used to always happen with Andy, man. Like time will go by, and he'll fight like a journeyman, and you kind of forget that he fought, and stuff like that. But with Izu in particular, though, I'm not sure why he had so much time off. I'm sure I probably did a video about it too, but I'll just forget at this moment. But yeah, man, I think the inactivity killed him. And sometimes, like I said, you can look in the mirror and have a six pack and your pecs, and you know what I mean, you're looking all veiny and muscular, and you think that, hey, I'm in shape. Yeah, you are. For walking around, yes, your body's in shape. But there's a difference between that and boxing shape. Getting the rounds in, sparring 10 rounds with fresh sparring partners coming in and things like that is just different, man. It's just a different type of shape. Kurt Anderson, what's good, brother? Let me see here. My man, Body Snatcher Return says violation. It should be a no contest, but he could have got up if he wanted to. Yeah, yep, I definitely agree, man. Because that was clear, and I was sitting there like, nah, Lucas, you ain't gotta hit him because you're gonna stop him anyway. Because by that time, I'm like, damn, is you don't want to fight, and Lucas is giving him the business. So I was wanting him to go ahead and finish it off. You know what I mean? Then when he hit him with that last one, that just like gave Izu a reason to just lay out, man, and just really try to sell it. It almost looked as bad as motherfucking Tom Schwartz when or Tom Schwartz or whatever, who just fought Tyson Fury when he fought who did he fight? Sanaa Gashi. And it was like on that level. Nah, I think that was probably worse. But these dudes look like damn like they out there flopping like soccer players, man. Like that dude was just sprawled out, like he just got knocked out, blinking and looking at and I'm like, man, but you just had a full blown conversation with the ref. Boxing Square, what's good, man? Y'all go check out my man Boxing Square, man. He does covers the division, the heavyweight division, like myself. Go check him out, man. Sub to his channel. Okay, so Boxing Square says Fa told me it was a left hook to the temple. Yeah, okay, that's what it looked like. That's what I guess it was, a left hook. And that shit was just like, it was crazy, man. And yeah, and it was your channel I watched that fight on. Yeah, shout out to Boxing Square. That's where I watched the fight, was on Boxing Square's channel. But yeah, that left hook caught him, man. And it was like a delayed reaction. He was hurt. I'm surprised Fa didn't get stopped, as hurt as he was. Somebody says Oliver McCall had a chin. Yeah, Oliver had a major chin. That dude still fighting, man. I believe Oliver McCall is still fighting. And man, that chin was getting put to the test because he was one of Mike Tyson's main sparring partners coming up, man. I mean, his chin got put to the test in his fights as well. The man fought Lennox Lewis and Frank Bruno. I mean, guys that can really punch hard, you know what I mean? But his chin was getting put to the test on like a daily basis fighting Mike. And him and Mike, I mean, he used to give Mike some good work, man. He used to give Mike some really good work. You go back and watch some sparring sessions, Oliver was giving Mike some work. Killer West was good, man. Mark says, great channel. Keep at it. Izu didn't look like he was up for the fight at all. What's your thoughts on the Parker fight? Oh yeah, Parker. Um, he did what he had to do, man. I mean, Leopai isn't just the easiest guy to stop. You know what I mean? He did what he had to do. It was a few times there where it looked like Parker was huffing and puffing, trying to blow the house down, and Leopai went nowhere. But I think Parker kind of realized that and knew it wasn't just going to be easy, run this guy out the ring in a couple rounds. So he adjusted and he did what he had to do. I think Parker's one of those guys that fights to the level of the guy he's fighting. And like I always say, man, he has some of the toughest fights for me to score, man. When I score his fights, I usually have him barely edging it or like draws. You know what I mean? Like the Huey Fury fight, I had that 6-5-1 Parker. I had the Takam fight just 7-5 for Parker. I had the Ruiz fight 6-6. And yes, I had the AJ fight 6-6. I know y'all probably think I'm tripping, but I see draw all day, every day when I watch that fight. Just tough fights for me to score with Parker, man. But and then even the Dillian White fight, it was unfortunate that knockdown when he didn't get hit with a punch, man, but he went down. Parker did in that White fight. That could have probably ended up being a damn draw. But even that fight was close. And he damn near stopped Dillian White. I hate going off ifs, but shit, if it was like 20, 30 more seconds, he would have stopped him. If that. Let me see. Boxing Square says, even if they do overturn the result, hard to see where Ugonoh goes from here. Ugonoh was never in the fight. Looked dreadful. Couldn't deal with the speed or keep Rozanski off him. Gas in 3 rounds. Yep, you pretty much said everything I said, man. And I totally agree. No matter what they change the result to, I still seen somebody get the fight beat out of them. You know what I mean? Um, Result change or not, whether that happens, whether that comes to fruition or not, I still seen a guy go in there and get the fight beat out of him. He looked winded, looked tired, looked like he didn't know what to do with a shorter pressure guy that was taking his shots. You know what I mean? So I don't know where he goes, man. I don't know where he goes. Corley boxes, salute, bro. Curtis and okay, Kurt. So it was the Tito fight. Okay, y'all go subscribe to my man Curtis Anderson, man. Yes, sir. Quincy Pinoli got Kalo. Mark Whippy says, just saw the fight. I think Lukasz should have been disqualified. Yeah, a lot of people probably going to agree with you, man. But even with that said, like I just went over, bro, I still think he was beating. He was beating Izu up. That doesn't negate the fact that he did hit him when he was low, but he was still beating him up. Johnny Todd says, what do you think of Usyk going to heavyweight? I think he's definitely getting a belt. Well, he does one thing that I always bring up, and I know fundamentally it's simplicity, but he moves his head. you know, Look, man, I'm gonna keep saying that. Y'all gonna be like, man, Mr. Boxing, that's so damn simple. But he moves his head, and he has good legs, and he has experience fighting bigger guys. He competed in the World Series of Boxing at the super heavyweight. Speaking of Junior Fa, he schooled Junior Fa in that. He schooled Joe Joyce. He schooled a lot of guys in the World Series of Boxing. You know what I mean? So, um, if he can move his head, utilize his legs and his footwork, and throw in combination. Don't worry about knocking guys out. Just throw in combination. Throw pepper guys. Move. Get them tired. Get them reaching. Get them try to just head hunt. You know what I mean? Yes, he can pull out some victories. Yes, he can. I really believe that. And I've been saying this for a while, man. I said this before he even went undisputed. Um, I actually did a heavyweight prospect watch video on Usyk in 2015. But Mr. Boxing, he wasn't at heavyweight. I know, but I knew one day he would move up to heavyweight. That's why I did the video, and I said it in the video. Uh, Ironically, Michael Hunter as well. I did a prospect watch on Michael Hunter when he was like 8-0 or something like that, and I knew that he would move up to heavyweight eventually. Why? Because I've seen those guys compete at super heavyweight in the amateurs and have success. Um, plus my man Usyk has sparred a lot of rounds with the Klitschko's, man. So and had he been found out then, that news would have been leaked and came out. You know what I mean? But I've heard even from Ali Bashir that they had good. Ali Bashir said that they had good sessions, Usyk and the Klitschko. So I'm gonna take Mr. Bashir's word for that because he was there. You know what I mean? He was around Emmanuel Stewart for decades, so I'm taking his word. You know what I mean? But I think Usyk has a shot. Do I think he beats every heavyweight? No. Do I think he can beat guys in the top 10? Yeah. Yep. All right, let me see here. Alex Alberto G says, "Are you going to watch John Jones fight?" I may catch the highlights, bro. I'm not. I haven't been in the UFC. Man, I haven't been into MMA and UFC. However you want to call it, mixed martial arts, or just watching the UFC as a brand. I haven't been into it, man, since about 2010 was probably when I kind of stopped watching it how I used to. You know what I mean? Obviously, for me at least, boxing and basketball takes precedence over everything. You know what I mean? Even American football. But the UFC was something I used to enjoy. I used to like watching the K1 in like the early 2000s and the late 90s and the 90s rather, when we had a blockbuster. I know somebody, what the fuck is a blockbuster? But I used to go and rent the VHS tapes of the UFC 1 and UFC 2 and uh, cage fighting series and all that type of shit, man. So, um, but yeah, man, probably like 2010 is when I kind of gave up on it. I used to always watch the little show they used to have. What was that called? The Ultimate Fighter. I actually bounced with a dude uh, in Minneapolis, downtown Minneapolis, that was on one of the seasons. He was on one of the earlier seasons, like probably like the third or fourth season or something like that. But I bounced with him before. Cool dude too. Cool cat. But to answer your question, I'll probably catch the replay because I know John Jones is that dude. You know what I mean? Neutral Natural says, I know Juan Carlos Gomez had a tattoo when he fought against Vitaly Klitschko. Oh, Gomez, man. The old former cruiserweight champion. Was that for the WBC? He's still is he still ranked? I think he's still rated by the WBA, man. Scrapbook Boxing, y'all go subscribe to my man Scrapbook. Was good, Scrapbook. The Cali Enigma was good. I'm gonna wrench you up. Cal, I'm gonna wrench. Hey, now I know how to do the wrenches, man. I finally know how to do the wrenches. After the stream is over, I go to the chat or to the comments and then highlight the guys I want to give a wrench to. So now I know how to do it. So more people will be wrenched up that I've been meaning to wrench for years now. You know what I mean? Corey Lee Boxing says that's why I've been saying Oscar Rivas will upset Dillian White. Yeah, man, this is not a joke, man. This is not a joke. The only guy that I've seen Rivas have trouble with, I mean, you can say Jennings was making him have trouble in spurts, but it was by doing what? Moving and moving his leg, moving. Movement give Rivas trouble. Not coming forward and trying to slug with him. I'm not saying he can't be outslugged or knocked out. Dillian White has a damn good left hook, man. You know what I mean? So if that shit lands on Rivas' chin, his temple or something, anything can happen. But the most problem I've seen him have is with guys that move. When he fought Severa Luis, Mr. Boxing, who the hell is Severa Luis? Yeah, exactly. He's a he's a dude that can move and box. He's up there in Canada. Actually, Severa Luis and my man Dylan Carmen had a 2014 Canadian Fight of the Year up there. But that's neither here nor there, man. Movement was giving Rivas problems. Movement, circling, moving him, jabbing him, boxing him on the back foot, and making him reset and plot around a little bit. That fight, in my opinion, could have been a draw. Go back and watch that one, Corey Lee. I thought that possibly could have been a draw. It was the movement. Dillian White, yeah, he'll move when he knows he'll do it here and there, but really he wants to slug. He really wants to slug. He wants to step in with his jab, overhand rights, left hook, and get into a war. You dig what I'm saying? And I think Rivas is going to walk him down. I think Rivas is a more technical stalker um, than Chisora. If Rivas can move his head, you dig what I'm saying, and walk in behind his jab and rip to the body. And to me, he's a much more like I say, he's more technical. He's more sharp with his work in close, with his combinations and the way he lets his punches go. His balance is better. He's just more technically sound than Chisora. Chisora has more dog in him. You dig what I'm saying? He just dog. I think Rivas has that dog in him, but he can do it in a technical way. You dig what I'm saying? So yo, and then Dillian White, I keep seeing, yo, and don't get it wrong, yo, it's because I ain't doing videos. I'm seeing all the chitter chatter. I'm seeing all the chitter chatter about the WBC is doing me wrong, and I've been the number one rated contender for 600 days. He's talking a lot about Wilder. Now, whether you think that's justified or not, bro, you still got Oscar Rivas waiting for you, who's undefeated, who's hungry. You know what I mean? The only thing with Rivas I am worried about is just will his retina give him problems? Because this was a guy that was getting he couldn't get a license here for a couple years. People kind of forget 3 years ago, he was supposed to fight Amir Mansour. It fell by the wayside because Rivas failed the eye exam. All right. Supposed to fight Gerald Washington. Fell by the wayside because he failed the eye exam. And this one, Washington was undefeated. Man, I wanted that fight to happen. This one, Washington was undefeated before the Wilder fight. And this was a Mansour before he lost to Jagba and Kuzman. And, it was before he started taking multiple losses. You dig what I'm saying? So it was like 2016. You know what I mean? So, but hey, he was able to get one eventually here against Bryant Jennings, and he did his thing. All right, so again, this wouldn't be Dillian White's fault, but I'm just looking at it from a guy that's had injuries on his eye. You dig what I'm saying? So if that's cool, he wins this fight, man. I think he's technically better as far as skill. He has Olympic pedigree. He beat Pulev in the Olympics. Uh, you know what I mean? So we will see, man. But it's movement that gives him problems. If White can't get him out of there with like a big left hook or back him up, he's going to get stopped. Because I think Rivas has better stamina. You know what I mean? But we're going to see how it plays out, man. We going to see. I think that's a damn good fight. Unbiased heavyweight rankings and news. He says that he believes Rivas is going to beat White. My man Marv says, I hope Rivas KOs White and stops his crying. And man, let me just speak on that just real quick, man. Look, Dillian White has had look, just because there's nothing in their rules that say because you're the number one rated guy when the rankings come out that you're going to get a title shot. You have to be the mandatory, man, or you can be a voluntary defense. I mean, look, man, the WBC mandated that dude to fight Luis Ortiz for whatever reason. He didn't want to fight the dude. All right, at least not in a timely fashion that the WBC wanted him to. Brazil came out. This was before Brazil got in there with Wilder. He was saying, "Hey man, I'll put my mandatory status on the line." The WBC was fine with it. We could put it on the line, and then the winner of that can fight Wilder. He didn't want to do that. This guy has been basically trying to take his own route to a championship belt. You can't do that, man. I mean, this is so like ABC 123 101. Like, I don't get how some fans aren't getting this. But for 600 days, yeah. And for 600 days, he didn't fight in the final eliminator. But Brazil, okay, but he didn't fight in the final eliminator. And I was I was advocating that the WBC should have made when Brazil fought Molina and White fought Helenius, they literally fought a week apart. The most logical thing would be to pair Brazil, well, the winner of the both fights, which end up being Brazil and White. They should have paired them up for it. But even when the WBC say, all right, we made a mistake on that, y'all can fight for it. White still didn't want to do it for whatever reason, man. You know what I mean? You can't just fight Lucas Brown and think that gets you a title shot. You can't just fight, even though Joseph Parker is a top 10 fighter, in my opinion, was coming off a loss, which I thought was a draw, but he's coming off a loss against AJ. Yes, that is a good win. But where in that win or before that fight did the WBC say, hey, if you beat Joseph Parker, we'll give you a title shot? Again, that's you trying to, create your own path. And that's not how this works. It's a good win. It's a solid win. But it wasn't a final eliminator. You know what I mean? This is a really good. Now, I'm not sure how they're going to do this yet with the Rivas thing. If he gets this win, it's another solid win, man. And I want to see Wilder versus White. I want to see these guys mixed and match, man. You know what I mean? So I still want to see Dillian White and Jarrell Miller. I've been wanting to see that fight for 3 years now. Yeah, so there's still a lot of mixes and matches that I want to see, man. Let me run through these comments real quick again. Scrapbook Boxing says, Mr. Boxing, do you believe Michael Spinks was a true heavyweight, or would he have been a better cruiserweight in your opinion? Um, I think he was solid. I know he fought what Tangstead and Jerry Cooney. I think he was solid, but he didn't get to stay there enough. We didn't get to see him against Michael Dokes and Bone Crusher Smith. We didn't get to see him against enough guys of that era, like a Carl Williams or guys like that. You know what I mean? He just fought the little few guys that he fought, the Tangsteads and Coonies, and he fought Larry Holmes twice. Hey man, whenever you beat the champ, you beat the champ. I'm a big believer in that. I don't care about how much you. Okay, dinner's done in my crib, so I'm gonna go in there and eat in a minute here. But I don't care how much you weighed or you barely came in over. You were able to beat the champ, the real champ. This wasn't like a Roy Jones situation. Shouts out to Roy, one of the most gifted fighters I've ever seen, with my own eyes, coming up in the same era as him. But this wasn't like a Roy beating John Ruiz. All right, this was equal to like Roy coming in and had he beaten like Lennox Lewis. All right, so Spinks came in and beat the guy looked at as the real world champion. You know what I mean? So, um, although I thought Holmes could have won at least one of those fights. But with that said though, man, could have possibly been a better cruiserweight, but then he would have ran into a guy named Real Deal Evander Holyfield. You dig what I'm saying? So I'm not sure, man. I just think Michael Spinks was just a great fighter, period. You know what I mean? Um, Probably could have had a little bit more success at Cruiser, but I think his career went exactly how it was supposed to go. You know what I mean? Speaking of the Spinks boys, man, his brother Leon had a very underrated amateur career, man. I know he got the medal and everything, but that dude was like 185 and like six. And the amateurs were like 150 knockouts, man. In the damn amateurs. I know it's the amateurs. I know people, it's the amateurs, but you knock out 150 motherfuckers in the amateurs, man. God damn. But them Spinks boys was something else coming up in them 70s, man. Then we know what Corey was able to do, but unbiased heavyweight rankings and news says that he'll take Rozanski and Konowski. That'd be a war. Should I take Rozanski and Kuzman, Tyrone Spong, anybody that wants to come forward and bang. Andre Fedosov, shit, any of them. Dominic Brazil for a comeback fight, shit, any of them. Let me see here. Teddy B says he think Izu should retire. Mr. Boxing Moves, what's up, bro? He says salute, Mr. Boxing. Always good to see you in the comments, man. You leave some really good, thorough breakdowns of styles and what guys can do in the ring. As far as game plans, I really like how you break that down, man. I agree, Kurt Anderson. Kurt says Spinks was a great light heavyweight. Yes, he was. He was a great light heavyweight, man. That was back when he had the fro, when his fro was a little bit bigger back in them days. Awkward, man, awkward, and would let his hands go. Almost. That's what I don't know, Kurt. What you think about Michael Hunter Jr., man? To me, kind of puts me in that mindset of like a Spinks-ish type of fight. I'm not saying he fights just like him, but what I mean? He just lets his hands go, man. He can move his head, just give you awkward movements to where you're not sure if he's going to be there or not. You know what I mean? Uh, I think his chin was a lot better than people give him credit for. I think they just look at the Mike Tyson destruction and just, um, you know, that's like the last impression that a lot of fans get, man. But like you say, he was a great light heavyweight. He was a out of this world amateur, him and his brother. You know what I mean? Uh, world champion. I mean, the dude was a great fighter, man. But that 1 round destruction, it's just unfortunate that a lot of people just have that lasting image of him. You know what I mean? I don't think it should be a view, or at least I don't view it like that. All right, my man Kurt said he got to see more. Okay. Yeah, but his style, man. I mean, and he fights like his father as well. Kurt, I know you remember his father, Michael Hunter Sr. Um, Crazy the parallel between the two, man, because it's just crazy, man. It's like, father like son really comes into play on this one, man. But yeah, I want to see more of Mike Hunter too, though. All right, y'all. I'm about to go in here and eat, man. Appreciate y'all showing up. Y'all know how I do with these live streams. I just pop up, man. I never have a rhyme or reason or time or place, man. I just come on. But I appreciate y'all showing up. Y'all be easy, man.